I wish most people would pay attention to this, but if you were to look at statistics and you were to look at all the people that become ultra wealthy, there'll be not a single person in that group that became ultra wealthy or, even just, had some money to their name. There'll be nobody in that group that got there because of credit card points or any particular point system that a business has, whether it is a point system that airlines have, you know, any of those particular point systems. You get an extra coffee if you eat at a certain place long enough. Nobody has gotten there and nobody will get there by playing that particular game. What that system says, because if you just look at the numbers, right? Like the basic story of all of these systems is that it's a reward system. So for every one time that you go there and you spend $1,000, you'll get $1 back. So what that tells you is that you spent an exorbitant amount of money at a particular place. If you start accumulating this, and it likely because they make a profit off of you, um, it's likely that you've overpaid significantly, right? The more that you can sort of remove the middleman from a situation, the more that you're going to do sort of financially better. Now, you have to sort of play off the time function and those particular things, but it has nothing to do with the money that you actually make from points, right? Like I rarely worry about points, and every time that I've worried about points, somebody has told me, the points are good or whatever, and I start looking into it. I'm like, this is really dumb. And we've done it, right? We've switched in the last few years. We switched credit cards because, you know, maybe that there was a point advantage was one, and frankly, we haven't really gained anything. The only thing that we've gained, I'm going to tell you that. So we switched to the Capital One Venture X card. Um, the only thing that we gained from our basic credit card that we had before is sometimes, not always, this is the funny thing, is that we get to go into when we travel in airports, we can go into kind of a second rate place where they give you free food and drinks. I'd say second rate. I have only been in two airports where I'm like, yeah, this is actually worth it as a restaurant. One in Switzerland was really quite nice. You just had good food. And then I can't remember where the other one was. Oh, it was in Orlando. The new Orlando airport actually has a pretty decent restaurant. But here's the thing: the restaurant choices that we actually had access to, had we not paid this thing, were actually better. And I was like, oh, I wish we would have actually ate out there rather than in this little point thing that they have. Right. And I want you to sort of think about that is how does this change your behavior? Right. Because ultimately it does change your behavior. And for me, because of these point systems, often it's like, not to my advantage. Almost always, it's not to my advantage. It adds stress, things like that. You know, in all situations that we have sort of played the point game, it has been a net loss to our life. And we try to avoid those particular things. I know some people do the airline thing, for example, what you don't see unless work is paying for it. But, for most of us, work doesn't pay for it. But unless work is paying for the flights are exorbitantly more expensive to stay with a particular point system. I always look at this and I'm like, they're making money. They're not going to have a point system that is going to benefit the consumer over the firm, right? The company has made a very rational choice. They usually have probably, my guess, they probably have 10 statisticians that are very, very much calculating and trying to figure out, in a big, large credit card company, they probably have 100 statisticians that are sitting there looking at the data, going through piles of data, making sure that it always favors the company and always favors the firm. You will not benefit in this scenario And unless that there is a weird glitch in the system, I just don't think that that happens very much because these are very smart companies. You're just not going to benefit. There's little that you can benefit by playing the point system. So remove that from your calculation in terms of how you make your choices. The only point system, and it's not a point system, but the only sort of system that I think in uniformly is actually done really well and benefits the consumer because that's the way it's actually set up is Costco, right? And then even that, there isn't really a point system there. But if you were to look at that, um, you know, all of the other point systems that we have access to, they do not benefit the consumer. And even when you pay exorbitant fees to get the expensive credit cards, the the Capital X one that I have, Capital One, Venture X one that we have, we pay like 400, $500. We end up, we pay that, then we get some of the credit back. But if we don't use the credit, we've lost that money. you know, I just think you cannot win by playing any particular point system. Just don't even go into that logic. You're going to lose out almost all the time. They have made that rational calculation. They are smarter than you because they have the data. They know how consumers behave. We're not that different, right? If you're a weird nut and you're really different from everybody else in terms of your purchasing patterns, maybe, but I don't think that most people are, right? They've already made these calculations. There's mathematical models to account for all of this stuff. You're gonna lose at the end of the day. Don't play the point system. It's not going to benefit you.